My name is Matthew. For those of you who might not know me, I'm called Matthew Lubari. I'm an activist, which has been doing quite a lot of work related to promoting culture of repair in the refugee settlements, but also in Africa generally. And I started, doing such work at a tender age when I got inspired. And now I am deeply into the repair culture and trying to create awareness raising about repair of electronic devices and many other things, trying to educate people to do repair other than discussing things which can, accommodate to waste, but also affecting the environment negatively. For example, polluting the environment and even putting the lives of people in risk. Maybe Joseph, you can go to the next. And also about me, I am a member of the global maintenance movement, which is, educating people and sharing knowledge and skills on maintenance, care, and maintenance, care, and repair of things, of relationships, and many other things. And just to share about the inspiration that led to the founding of Community Creativity for Development, which is a grassroots organization that we formed in 2019. That was when we initiated the idea. This was when I fled my country to Uganda due to political instability. And looking at repair, the lack of repair and maintenance of mainly electronic devices in displaced communities in Rhino camp. And we thought twice and come up with ways on how to maintain those devices with the little resources that we have as refugees. In 2019, that was when we initiated the organization. And in Rhino camps, host about 192 or over 192,000 refugees, with majority from South Sudan, followed by Congo, DR Congo. So when we first started our activities in Rhino camp in a place called Eden, we realized that over 100 people turned out for our first activity that we held, our first repair cafe. And this, with that, it showed us clearly that, repair, it's a need in a refugee camp. Although it has been overlooked by many humanitarian organizations who doesn't focus on, who has not put much interest in providing repair as a service to a displaced person. Right, next, Joseph. And as we continued doing our work, we mainly, our approach has been doing community repair cafe activities in the refugee camp. And these community repair cafe activities, those are activities that involve the community to join, bring their things for fixing by volunteers, experts, volunteers. And also it's a platform for sharing knowledge and skills among those who don't have skills before. And it's sort of a learning platform for for the community, for the refugee communities or for the displaced communities, while also promoting social cohesion and peaceful coexistence among the refugees themselves, including the host communities. And like I said, at first we started with repair. And over time, to date, we have organized 23 repair cafes and reached over 2,000, fixed over 2,000 electronic devices, trained around 350 youths in both repair and digital skills. And we've been also raising awareness on safe disposal of this electronic waste. And then later on, we realized what we do with things that we cannot repair then we looked closely and come up with ideas on how to reuse or repurpose some of the things that have failed to work, but still have like components inside that can be reused for other purposes. And we started the maker culture, where training young people on critical making, like making of LED lamps, power banks out of the batteries of these electronic devices that have abandoned. And then we also looked at upcycling some of those components, combining, getting materials from electronic waste and then putting them together to create Internet of Things. And an example of where we trained youths on how to build, one of the examples is the automatic water dispensers, the automatic kitchen garden irrigation system that farmers can use or refugees can use to water their plants or their vegetables, because we realize like during hot seasons, you find that there has been a lot of lack of rain and there's too much heat, and access to vegetables has been a problem, or to green vegetables has been a problem. And looked at how do we tackle this kind of climate problem. Together with the community during the trainings, and they say, hey, I think there's this problem of people lacking rain, yet they needed, to grow vegetables or green vegetables in their kitchen gardens or around their homes. So it needs to develop a system that they can use to automatically water these small gardens. And then they come up with the ideas of making the automatic irrigation system using local available resources, like reusing small water bottles or the jerrycans, and then putting together an Arduino system and other small electronic components which are extracted from e-waste to make it work and make it a functional device. Next, Joseph. So still on the insights, in 2022, we were renting a shop as our maker space where we could train the youth outside a tree, and it was sort of a conducive tree because it has a nice and beautiful shade, but at the same time, when it's raining, then it becomes a problem to us. We could stop the training and then wait until when the rain is done. So looking at that, we then reach out to people, to individuals, and one of it is the Repair Cafe Malmo, where we had put several fundraising. We have set up several fundraising sites in order to raise funds to, to run activities like celebrating International Repair Day, but also use it to put together a space that we can use to train the youths without any interruptions. Although we have not been 100% successfully from the crowdfunding campaigns that we have run, we have not hit our targets, but we were able to have funds that we had used to put together a building. And as you can see in the next picture, we constructed our Bride Maker space in Rhino Camp refugee settlement. And in the other side is the interior part of the maker space. And this is all from funds that we raised through fundraising. Next, please. So in the Bride Maker space in Rhino Camp refugee settlement, we have programs like I said, the making trainings, like promoting the culture of making among young people, because like when we started training, I mean, introducing the idea of making, young people were like, what is making? What is making? And then when we took them deep into understanding what making is, was like, oh, it's something that we have been doing, but we never knew we were making things, right? But we then take them through critical making, like making things that make sense, like make things in order to solve the problem that you have at home, or to solve problem that your neighbor is facing, and where you see there are a lot of pictures there. One of it is of a signboard, because they looked at it with CC40 doesn't have a signboard. So they say, hey, why don't we make a signboard for CC40? And they come up with, they made an electronic signboard for CC40. They also looked at solving problems like high temperatures and making, cooling fans that are rechargeable, also out of what? The electronic waste, by collecting batteries, by collecting, boxes and plastic materials, including other electronic components like the motors that are put together to produce a low-cost cooling fan that someone can easily produce locally within the Rhino Camp. And we have also reached out to students in secondary schools, where we held events, and in one of the picture is an event celebrating the Internet of Things Day, the IoT Day. And it was interesting to see that students, they liked the idea, and as of now, like in Uganda, students in secondary schools, they have a task to do, like to come up with projects, like DIY projects, and that they need to present at the end of the year, especially senior for leavers, senior for students. So they are always required to have projects. And the school was so happy for the introduction of such program in the schools. And apart from also the electronic reusing or maintaining electronic components, we also have a program of tailoring aimed at promoting fashion and design, and also upcycling of the clothes or the textiles that are owned by refugees. And we trained women especially on how to upcycle some of the clothes that they see it as already waste, but how can they reuse them? And mainly our focus has been reusing those clothes that are being termed as waste. by bringing them together and putting them into a new fashion. Next, please. Yeah, 2023 to 2025, and this is in Yei, South Sudan. Initially, our operations were in Rhino Camp, but then when I moved to South Sudan, I came back to South Sudan like in 2023, after some times being in the refugee camp. Then I realized many of the young people, the youths have been, there's a lot of high unemployment, and the youths were engaged, in activities that are not helpful. For example, engaging in drug abuse, like drinking alcohol, causing violence. Then we thought twice, like, what do we do in order to make the youths active and to also to generate income for themselves? And we introduced also the culture of making and repair in South Sudan, in Yei, South Sudan, where we are running also another makerspace in South Sudan, apart from the one in Uganda. And in this makerspace, we do trainings on digital skills, the repair training, and also turning waste into useful products. For example, turning compact disc into useful art crafts that they can sell to people and earn a living, right? And they were able to come up with prototypes like beautiful watches, making earrings out of these electronic waste like the CD drives, and they were able to sell them and earn, a living. Next, please, Joseph. So along the way, we were faced with several challenges, from lack of electricity to lack of tools and equipments, which were hindering our operations. Because with makerspace, although our makerspace is a basic makerspace that I could say, because we don't have like the equipments like other makerspaces, but we have like basic tools and equipments that we have, and sometimes we lack the tools. And in one of this picture, is in one of the repair cafes and activities that we held, and our generator broke down. Yet we needed to fix some of the electronic components for the refugees. And one of the repair technicians, had to go and get firewood, which is having some fire on it, and trying to hit the screwdriver in order to remove a component, a mouthpiece of a mobile phone. And it was hard to do that, and very risk, of course. But of course, they had to risk further in order to solve a problem that a refugee is facing. At the end of the day, they were able to fix it, despite the challenge of the breakdown of the generator. And then, of course, funding also has been a very, very big problem for us. All this while, we had a partner. We were funded through the AskNet project with support from Rogue Agents. But of course, the other makerspace in Yei was solely operating on voluntary basis without any funding. And what we were running is doing training at a substandard cost, where community members pay for some of the services like the digital competency skills training, where they pay for them, but of course at a low cost. But even when they are paying, sometimes, the payment is not done like on time, and which was so challenging for us. And in Yei, after that, we were able also to run a crowdfunding campaign to raise some money to purchase a solar panel. And of course, after that, we realized also the solar panel's power is too high, that could not be used to connect all the batteries in it. So we had to suspend one of the solar panel and only put one. So that was also another challenge that we faced. And especially running crowdfunding campaigns has been not super easy for us, because first of all, we are not experts in making crowdfunding campaigns. And what we have learned during this operation is that without tools and electricities, makerspaces cannot do more. They can only do a small percentage of work, but not a big percentage of work. And funding is essential for makerspaces to make a great impact. And also, you know, we realized also the lack of exchange visits from our staff has, you know, made us to have like limited knowledge, and we could not know what other makerspaces are having and the lesson learned. Because like seeing, we believe that visiting makerspaces physically will give us a high chance to learn and unlearn and relearn. Right? And also through our programming, we learned that repair program is very essential in makerspaces, because when something breaks down, you will not be able to look for where to go and fix. I mean, take the device to fix, but rather to use your expertise to fix what is being broken, right? And looking ahead, we are seeking for funding and also partnerships. We are open to partnerships for to people who are interested in supporting our work. And currently, like in Yei, we have we are given a container containing, 20 sewing machines, which have been locked there since 2016 when the conflict broke out. And we wanted to use those machines, but we has been challenged because of the issue of the power, because those machines uses electricity, and without electricity we cannot put them into use. And we wanted to republish or to turn the 40-feet container into a sewing, a tailoring unit. But then the challenge has been also with the electricity and the funding in order to make it live. And this is the current also challenge that we are facing in our makerspace in Yei. And we believe that it's very important maybe to have a joint fundraising. Maybe the Makers Association can, set up a massive crowdfunding campaign, maybe for a specific duration of time, and these funds maybe can be distributed, or makerspaces can then apply for this funding from the Makerspace Association in order to solve some of the problems that are facing the various makerspaces. So this is basically what I have for today for my presentation. And in the next slide here, these are some of the photos of events that I attended, and got a lot of sense and interactions with people. And one was last year in 2024 when we attended a workshop in Greece together with Joseph on wind turbine making. It was really a very great one. And then the other one is the May conference in Republica event. And this was after the Republica event. We were at the gig site and sharing ideas. And it was great meeting, Andrew in person and having a brief chat with him. So all this, had a very great impact. And recently in the UK, early September, I was at FixFest, sharing also our plans about the right repair movement that we are working together with Joseph and other colleagues. And we also invite you guys to join us in making this the right repair movement Africa to come through, so that we can create awareness about the repair culture in Africa, because we have seen that much as the traditional repair culture, Africa has a strong repair culture, but there is no specific data on the things that are repaired and what impact is causing on the people of Africa or on the environment. So join us so that we can take this movement ahead and see it growing. Otherwise, thank you so much. And we can be reached out through these contacts. And these are beautiful pictures from a group of participants that we trained with their beautiful crafts, things that they made, especially the tailoring groups. With their things that they made from the trainings that we had, and we can be reached via these contacts. And I'll be happy to hear comments, questions from you guys. Thank you.